When you hear people say that the war is in a stalemate and that eventually NATO is just going to overwhelm Russia, what do you respond to that?
From an American standpoint, yes, the war is a stalemate and they can make a lot more money if it stays like that for a couple more years. However, from the interviews I've watched on the Ukrainian side, they're much more worried, for example. They're worried because in no way they're close to victory, because victory for them is the 1991 borders, and they're far from getting them. And they're worried about the US dropping them in a couple months when there's a new election and they don't know which president is going to take over. They're scared that Trump is going to cut off supplies and weapons to Ukraine. So for now, the Ukrainians are extremely worried, and also because they're retreating across the entire front. The elites, let's say the commanders in chief, the politicians of Ukraine, that are worried about all this drying up. But from what I've seen with the soldiers, they're still going to the fronts. They're fighting for their country, whether it's the US or whoever supporting them. They're gonna go. Now, in regards to Trump, I'm still divided as to what could happen if he becomes president. One side of me is telling me he's gonna cut the funds to Ukraine. Another tells me he's gonna do a surge, a mass delivery of weapons. And then if that doesn't change the outcome of the war, then he's going to push Ukraine to the negotiation table. But even then, it's not the US or Ukraine really that controls the game. It's if Russia wants to draw peace that we have to think about. Why would Russia stop the war now and sign for peace when they already did that in 2014? So why would they go sign another peace treaty knowing that Ukraine might be part of NATO right after? So there, some Ukrainian politicians said, from the Russian perspective, they want to keep the war going as long as possible, because every European always talks about, I say European, but NATO member, always says Ukraine will be part of NATO when the war ends. So from this perspective, the longer Russia drags on the war, the less likely Ukraine will be part of NATO.
You know, I can understand your comments about Trump and the possibilities, but I can tell you from someone I know who's been in some of the meetings that he has been in on his foreign policy possibilities, they have said that he told them that he would not go that path because he said, what's the point? He said, there's no way that Russia is going to lose this war. And so we want to push for peace. But the question is, will Russia, are they willing to have a negotiated settlement or a ceasefire so that they can talk about something if they have a chance to continue to gaining on the ground?
Yeah, because the Russian perspective is they don't trust the West anymore. That's a big problem. They trusted the West in 2014, 2015 when there was a first ceasefire. And what did it bring? Nothing. Apart from the ultra-militarization of Ukraine and the war we're currently in. I mean, the backstory is extremely complicated, but yeah, for the Russians, what's the purpose? What's the point of stopping the war right now? Because now they're gaining ground. They're taking the territories they want to take. And I think from a more profound perspective, they want this war to be the last war. Because think about it. Putin is getting old, and I don't know who's going to... We don't know who's going to take over after him, but he doesn't trust the next ruler with the borders, or he doesn't know what's going to happen. So he wants, I think, Putin probably wants to settle the borders once and for all in the West, in Ukraine, knowing that it could be over for him anytime soon. So he wants to finish this war once and for all and settle this question of Ukraine. So that's the macro perspective. But now... even Trump, from what I remember, but correct me if I'm wrong, he wasn't really inclined for the Afghanistan war, but he still kept it going. He knew it was nonsense, but he was forced to continue because, let's be honest, the military-industrial complex loved it. So we could think it's the same thing with Ukraine. Why would the military-industrial complex stop right now?